So we all know by now that the MCU was long past its prime, and it wouldn't be much of a stretch to say that the MCU is officially a dead franchise.
Bye-bye. See you later.
But there was one glimmer of hope. There was one movie slated next year that looked like it had some potential, and that movie was Deadpool. But in typical Disney fashion, they said, "Oh, you guys like this, do you? Well, let me absolutely obliterate it, so when it comes out and flops, we can call you toxic fans."
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
But fans aren't the only ones angry right now with the making of Deadpool, as Ryan Reynolds himself is frustrated with all the leaked images coming out from on set of Deadpool. However, there is nobody on set of a Marvel movie that isn't supposed to be there, so clearly this is an inside job, and this is someone at Marvel who's leaking these photos, and I have a theory that this is actually all part of a marketing strategy for the film, and that's why Ryan Reynolds is so angry, because this marketing strategy is utterly failing, and I'll touch on why Ryan Reynolds is so angry later, but first, let's talk about why they're actually leaking these photos, as in my opinion, this is all part of a strategy to build hype for the film. As they know that the MCU is dying, they know they have to resort to drastic measures to try and save any potential film, and to try and make fans interested again, and I'm sure that they thought that by leaking photos from on set, they would be able to garner some interest for this film and start to build some hype among the fans who haven't been excited for a Marvel movie in quite some time. And I'm sure they saw how well this strategy worked for Barbie as they leaked the on-set photos of Margot Robbie on rollerblades. However, the difference here is that that photo didn't leak what Barbie was about. That photo didn't leak any plot information, but where Marvel have failed is that they've basically leaked the entire plot of Deadpool 3, and guess what? It doesn't sound great.
You didn't see that coming?
And I'm sure that's exactly why Ryan Reynolds is so angry and frustrated with Marvel, because they're destroying his movie to try and save their dying universe.
How dare you!
Because just from the leaked photos, we now know that this movie takes place in the void from Loki Season 1. We also know that Red Skull is involved in this movie. We also know that Sabretooth is in this movie. We also know that this film is connected to Moon Knight. And we also know that this movie is acting as a prequel for Avengers Secret Wars, and that this film is going to play a big part in wrapping up the multiverse saga. But the problem with us knowing all that information and basically understanding the entire plot of this movie is that fans don't want to see that. Fans aren't interested in seeing everything connect with the MCU anymore. They're growing tired of this universe, and when you find out that Deadpool 3 is going to be interconnected with all these other MCU movies and is basically going to play as a bait and switch to introduce new characters like the X-Men, fans aren't going to be excited, and they're going to be turned away from watching this movie. Because Marvel just have to face the facts that no one cares about the MCU anymore, and the only way you're going to be able to reinvigorate interest into the MCU is through good, character-driven films like Deadpool 3 should have been, but not through continuing to build this MCU out and to develop this multiverse that fans don't care about.
We don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
So while Ryan Reynolds is focused trying to develop the best movie possible and save this dying franchise, Disney Marvel seem to be more focused on trying to market the movie already and bring in money. But the funny thing here is that their marketing strategy is probably going to cost Deadpool 3 more money than it should have made at the box office.
Good job.
And this frustration between Ryan Reynolds and Disney Marvel showcases a wider problem for the MCU and for Disney as a whole, where there seems to be a broken relationship between the creatives and the studio executives. Because both sides continue to blame each other for why movies are flopping, and they continue to attack each other, where you have Bob Iger talking about how the creatives have lost sight of why they make Marvel movies in the first first place, or why they make movies in general. And then you also have creatives coming out saying that these are studio movies and that creatives don't get enough creative input and don't get enough freedom to actually create the story they want. But the reality here is that both sides need to take accountability. Both sides need to realize that they've both failed the fans, as these creatives have created movies that fans don't like and audiences don't want to watch, and on the studio executives front, they chose to greenlight these movies when they could have easily said no. But I would say the bigger issue with Deadpool 3 being so connected to the MCU is that it strips away any of the uniqueness from the character of Deadpool, because the first two Deadpool movies were so widely loved by fans because they were so different. Ryan Reynolds' take on Deadpool is so much different to any other hero we've seen in the MCU, and that could have worked really well for Marvel right now, where it seems that all their movies follow the same bland formula and the same bland vision, where so many of their recent movies, from Ant-Man Quantumania to the Marvels, both look like a B-grade Star Wars and have no uniqueness at all. Whereas Deadpool 3 could have played a crucial role in trying to revive the MCU by giving it a fresh spin, giving it a unique take, and showcasing a different style of movie to come out of the MCU. Because Deadpool is a lot more adult themed, the jokes made in those first two movies were very different to any of the jokes that we've seen in the MCU before.
I've never said this, but don't swallow.
And I really think that's exactly what Marvel need, and the worst possible thing that they could have done to Deadpool was connect it so heavily to the MCU, because it just strips away any of the uniqueness that Deadpool could have had, and it takes away all that we actually like about the character. And I'm sure Ryan Reynolds gets that, and it's probably playing a big part behind the frustration that he's showing with Deadpool and with Marvel. Because if you look at the few movies that have actually succeeded for the MCU in the last few years, they were all wildly different, and that's why they succeeded. Look at Spider-Man No Way Home, that is so different to any other MCU movie, and it made $1 billion. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, while that wasn't a perfect movie, that still did much better than any other MCU film lately because it was so different. So clearly a unique vision plays a major role in being able to reinvigorate interest from the Marvel fans, but it seems that Disney Marvel don't quite understand that and continue to focus on building out this stupid multiverse. And honestly, if Deadpool 3 flops, I don't think they can recover at all, because if you look at what Marvel has slated in the future over the next 12 to 24 months, there is nothing else that has anywhere near the potential of Deadpool 3. So if this movie comes out, bombs at the box office, bombs with the fans, and bombs with the critics, there is no way the MCU will be able to recover, because another movie that was meant to come out alongside Deadpool was Captain America 4, but after early screenings, they've had to delay that movie over a year for reshoots because apparently the film sucked. So this is clearly their last hope. Their back is up against the wall, but I don't know if they're going to be able to fight themselves out of this one, because the early signs we're seeing from Deadpool aren't looking good. But what are your thoughts on this whole situation? Let me know down below in the comments. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all on my next video.